We've been working on sustainability in the built environment, and this chapter addresses alternate energy sources. We have wind energy, solar energy, and geothermal exchange. And so we are working in the context of sustainability to improve living, minimizing impact on planet Earth, and providing housing that ultimately becomes more and more energy efficient, and in the end we believe for something beyond sustainability. Now, the alternate energy options, I'd like to start with wind energy. We know that we have renewable resources in wind and in solar. These are tried and tested, and so we really want to utilize that. In fact, across Canada, we already have incredible capacity of 11,000 megawatts. It shows the distribution, and you will notice that Alberta is really doing pretty good at taking almost the lion's share right after Ontario of 1,500 megawatts in Canada is being produced in Alberta through windmills. So I'd like to take a look at the city of Lethbridge. City of Lethbridge is the city that we practice out of, and this is a windrows diagram that shows the wind, where it is directionally emanating from, and the fact that we have an awful lot of it. So we have a west-southwest wind in the Lethbridge environment. It's very predictable, and we can harness that. And our vision, of course, for architecture is to take that wind, harness it in a way that makes sense, and utilize it for project-specific applications. And again, wind speed is fairly consistent. Consistency in wind speed is, of course, something that they look at. And one of the reasons that the Lethbridge area towards Pincher Creek, Carmagay is so heavily populated with windmills is because of that consistent wind environment. Now, this is an interesting project done by an architect by the name of Helmut Jahn. And they were challenged actually because there were height restrictions with respect to the development permit. So they couldn't create a vertical turbine of any kind. And so they came up with a horizontal turbine, which in fact is on the top of the roof and takes care of much of the energy requirements within that building. Our vision is that in a residential building, perhaps it could take care of all of the requirements, particularly nowadays when we're looking at LED lighting and so forth, where consumption is dropping off dramatically through inventive engineering. Here's a close-up of that wind generator. It's a horizontal turbine and just does a great job of producing the wind energy. There's also the option of vertical access wind generators that can be integrated into the architecture. Here you see them in a way that works together with some small solar collectors. And so our vision is that we would include those also in our project, which brings us to number 2, which is solar energy. We have a map of Alberta. The heightened number of hours, over 4,800 millijoules per square meter that gets generated is shown in red, and Lethbridge happens to be sort of at the epicenter of that. That means that we have sunshine hours that we can utilize in order to generate electricity. Photovoltaics is the most effective way to do that. So that is glass product, which actually takes the power of the sun and converts it into electricity. And our vision is that we could actually take and harness more electricity than actually could be consumed. Right now, the way that the grid is set up, they have to buy back any power that you generate. There's, of course, a little bit of a net loss. The best is if you can use it directly. And I do want to point out that in Edmonton, which is in this yellow zone, so it has only between 4,400 to 4,800 millijoules per meter squared. In that environment, we have an acreage owner who has put in tracking photovoltaics and generates so much electricity that they only need to buy power 2 months of the year. All the rest of the year, they're selling power to the grid. I'm also aware of a group of nuns who have a project in Winnipeg, and it has photovoltaics on it, and it generates electricity. And they sell the power to the grid. It actually gives them a revenue stream. They have money to do something with. They can put it against their grocery budget every month, and it works out very, very well for them. And so Lethbridge being right in the middle of this zone that is the highest and best, it really makes Lethbridge very, very viable. Photovoltaics have become very popular and are advancing rapidly. That technology is greatly improved and it becomes more and more realizable as it advances. We now see it on single-family residents, a lot of different ways to apply the solar energy.